with all respect, white people like yourself who doesn't understand the language, doesn't understand the culture, and doesn't even know the religion.
Uh-oh, retard alert!
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Rula Jebreal, who is, if I may, a terrible apologist for Islamic terrorism. Hey everyone, so she appeared on CNN and made the worst points as to what leads to radicalization and jihadism. If you only pick at the points she made during the clip, that white people like yourself don't understand the culture and religion, first let's identify the fact that it was a non sequitur. What does his skin color have to do with anything? I'm sure there are black and Hispanic non-Muslims who don't understand the religion of Islam. Coming from the other side, we have the fact that there are white Muslims. Yes, we have native white Muslims in countries such as Bosnia, Kosovo, Albania, etc. What solidifies the fact is that there have been white Muslim terrorists. The reason why I opened up with this clip is to lay out my case for how incoherent her arguments are, which in the end come out as batshit crazy.
People, I don't know, Buck, if you speak Arabic.
Why is that relevant?
And clearly you talk about terrorism, but you need to understand the culture, you need to understand the language, you need to understand what is appealing, what is the message that ISIS actually is selling.
I have no idea about the point she was trying to make. Is she suggesting that devout Indonesian Muslims can't have a say as to why ISIS is appealing because they don't speak Arabic? The country with the most Muslims in the world is Indonesia, not an Arabic country. Behind it we have India, not an Arabic country. In fact, the top 4 countries with the most number of Muslims are not Arabic countries. And out of the top 9, only 2 of them are Arabic. According to her, the majority of the Muslim population can't talk about terrorism since they don't speak Arabic. Along with that, when she mentions you need to understand the culture, I'm at a standstill. I have no clue about what that means. There is no uniform culture, even if she was referring to the religion ISIS is operating in. Take for instance Iraq. In Iraq we have Iraqi Sunnis, Shiites, and Kurds. You can't with a straight face tell me that they have the same culture because they don't. There are differences, and you can't just say that you need to know the culture because you have to specify which one.
Look, where do they recruit the most? Is in Muslim communities that are marginalized. Why Europe has this problem with foreign fighters? Because they had issues, serious issues with integration. I'm sorry, discrimination breeds more radicalization.
What? Discrimination breeds more radicalization.
Whoa, I can't react to that with a straight face. I would agree with her if she was specifically talking about Iraq and the Sunni Shiite fights. However, in Europe, she just simply pulled that out of her ass. The country in the spotlight, Belgium, had adopted an anti-discrimination law in 2013, which I quote, at the federal level, the racism law forbids discrimination on the basis of race, color, nationality, descent, and national or ethnic origin. Belgium doesn't treat Muslims as second-class citizens with their waffles. The terrorists have their own agency, which they act upon. The case, however, is being made that the Brussels attacks are linked with Salah Abdeslam, who was hiding in Ugasten, Belgium. A terrorist we had previously seen in this video, Adam Gadon, was a white American. How is he being discriminated against again? They are radicalized in part by the Quran. The percentages depend on each case, however. We don't see marginalized Jews trapping on a vest or criminal Mexicans blowing up Harlem. The doctrine of Islam is certainly linked with terrorism, and we have to stop denying it. And we have to stop bringing in other arbitrary factors which we know have nothing to do with this.
Well, the issue of prevention is connected with integration, especially in European communities. The Italian Prime Minister, Matteo Renzi, said, and I basically agree with him, especially if you look at what's happening in certain European realities. 5 million Muslims in France, 4 million in Germany. You have others all over, especially in the UK. He said, whatever you spend on defense, you need to spend another amount on integration. And this is where it comes. We need these kind of programs.
No, we don't. There's a reason why we don't. This isn't about integration. Instead, it's about assimilation. This isn't the 1960s where we have segregated neighborhoods. This is the 21st century where we have Muslim neighborhoods who aren't assimilating and adopting European/Western values. I mean, 27% of British Muslims are sympathetic to the Charlie Hebdo killers. 35% of French Muslims believe that suicide bombings are often or sometimes justified. 16% of Belgian Muslim boys believe that terrorism is acceptable. We're not talking about Afghanistan or Iraq. This is Europe. Of course, once you enter the Middle East and Asia, the polls have support for suicide bombing through the roofs. However, the point still remains that the problem isn't integration. It's a lack of assimilation. We have seen a lot of European Muslims avoid that, and we have seen Muslims being killed for assimilating by other Muslims. For example, a Scottish Muslim was killed for wishing Christians a happy Easter. I'd also like to end it with leaving the floor to Buck Sexton. I have no clue about who this guy is. However, he made a lot of sense, and was the only one to do so.
Well, there are a couple of ways to go with this, and I'm not sure exactly where she was coming at the issue, but one problem law enforcement constantly has to deal with is respecting the rights of, in this case, Muslim minority communities, while also being able to catch that point where rhetoric turns into jihadization. It's very difficult to do. Oftentimes, there'll be a sense that somebody may have radical, very anti-American ideas. That's protected under the First Amendment. You can say you hate America, you can say you hate Israel, you can say that whatever happens to our troops overseas is what they deserve. That's all protected under the First Amendment. Somebody says that, they start getting additional law enforcement scrutiny. Then all of a sudden, the ACLU and others come in and they say, what are you doing? Why are you profiling? Okay. But if you don't do that, you have people saying, well, why isn't there intervention before somebody says, all right, I've reached out to ISIS, I'm joining the jihad? What that has to do with trying to prevent people from blowing up buses and trying to annihilate.
That's already too late.
That was my job. That's what I'm speaking to on this issue.
Intervention.
Well, you are speaking about before intervention. You're also saying that people who aren't able to assimilate properly, there are a lot of people who are disenfranchised who don't strap on suicide vests, who don't decide that they're going to go join a foreign fight in a foreign country as part of.
As if the university endorsed Trump for president.
Bing, bang, bang.